All right, so here's our first example, and what I want you to notice is that, okay, the left fraction can't be simplified, but the right can, and that's because it has an n on the top and an n on the bottom. Does everybody understand that, you can cancel this out right off the bat? It's going to make it easier if you do that, okay? By the way, what's the power of this n?
1.
Okay, so...
Didn't you cross out the 5 ends, or can you not do that?
Nope, because they're on separate fractions, and it's being subtracted, so you cannot cross those 5 ends out. If they were being multiplied, you could, okay?
Oh.
But there's a subtraction sign here. You can't do that. It'd be like doing 1/2 minus 2/3. You definitely can't just cancel those 2's out. Okay, so who remembers how to divide like bases? You do what with the exponents? Subtract. So this is going to cancel and just become n on the bottom. So the first step you need to write down is to simplify the fractions. Now the one on the left, like I said, is already simplified, so I'm just going to rewrite it. But the one on the right will simplify to 5 over 3mn. And some of these have more simplification than others. Like number 5, you can cross the m's and the n's out, and you should absolutely do that. So when you find the LCM of the denominators, remember numerators don't play a factor, because to combine two fractions, you just have to have a common denominator. So going back to our expression, first of all, let's look at the numbers 5 and 3. What's the LCM of 5 and 3?
15.
Okay, so I'm going to go here and write LCM. Start out with 15, although we know that's not it. We have to go back and look at the variables. All right, so then what would...
15mn.
Yep, it'd be 15mn. So this one doesn't have an m, but this one does, so we have to include it. And they both have an n, which equals out to just one n. So the final answer for the LCM is 15mn. Okay, any questions about that step? Okay, so why would we want to convert them into the least common multiple? Because that way they have the same denominator, and we can add or subtract them. The adding and subtracting only matters with the numerators, actually. Remember, the denominator stays the same when you combine two fractions. So basically, we want to convert both of these, bottom of these fractions, into our LCM, which is 15mn.
Do you have to do anything to the top when you do that, or it doesn't matter?
Yes, you do.
Okay, let's see what's the bottom.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's just rewrite what we have simplified. Somebody help me with this. All right, I can look at it, never mind. So we have 6. Actually, let me leave some more space there. We have 6 over 5n, and leave some space, minus 5 over 3m. Okay. Mn, thank you. Okay, so we need to make sure that both denominators are 15mn. So I usually just look at the one on the left. How can we convert the left denominator so that it's 15mn? Multiply it by 3m. If you're confused by that, then just divide. Basically, the LCM divided by 5n would give you 3m. But you bring up a good point. You can't just choose to multiply the denominator by that. You also have to multiply the numerator by that.
Wouldn't it be 3mn or just 3m?
No, because the 5 already has an n.
That 5 already has an m, so that would become 15mn, which is what you want. If you multiplied it by what you said, 3mn, then it would become 15mn squared, because you'd have an n times an n. Okay, so on the right, how can we convert that to 15mn? Just multiply by 5, right? And again, if you're multiplying the denominator, you have to multiply the numerator as well. This is really no different than combining two fractions that are just numbers, okay? It's just throwing some variables in there, but the process is exactly the same. You find the lowest common denominator, you turn the bottoms into those lowest common denominators, and then you deal with the numerators. All right, we're going to do the work for this on the next page, so we're just going to multiply everything out. We can just start with the numerator here. So what's 6 times 3m?
18m.
All right, now let's deal with the next one. Should be the LCM if we did it right in the bottom, so that's going to become 15mn like we want it to be. Now you might notice, oh, I can simplify that. You don't want to do that, okay? Because you'd be undoing your work. You want the denominators to be the same, so don't re-simplify it. You're basically, like I said, undoing what you just did. All right, top right, we have 5 times 5, which is 25. Whoops. And the bottom left should become the LCM, so it's also going to be 15mn. Okay, we are almost there now. All right, so again, when you combine fractions, you only combine the numerators, whether that's adding or subtracting. In this particular case, it's a minus sign, so we're just going to subtract 18m minus 25, and the bottom will stay the same. So it'll be 18m minus 25 over 15mn. Okay, I'm going to put one more step. Again, it's not going to apply for this one, but it'll apply to the future, maybe some of the future examples, and that is to simplify the top. Okay, so sometimes once you do your work, you can actually combine some stuff on the top. Like imagine if you had 18m minus 6m, that'd be 12m, right? And sometimes after that, you can actually simplify the whole thing. It's kind of crazy. So I'm going to put a 6th step on there as well. But for step 5, we can check this one off. But just to make sure, you simplify your numerator. And then the final step will be simplify the fraction. But again, this one's already simplified. Let me talk a little bit about that. If you have, you might be wondering, okay, well, why is this fraction simplified? Can you not divide this and this? Well, yes, you can, but then you turn it back into 2 different fractions, right? We wanted to combine it to one fraction. One fraction is simpler than 2, so this is going to be our final answer. All right, so we'll stop there, let you guys work on this.